Portions of our programming have been pre-recorded. The Good Neighbor Network, WGNS, Murfreesboro, Smyrna. Flagship station for MTSU Sports. The views and opinions on this show are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of WGNS, its management, other hosts, or advertisers.
Good evening, everyone. Edwin Lee Raymer here with you. Ed Raymer for the Edwin Lee Raymer Show. We're glad to have you here. It's 8 o'clock again on a Sunday night. And Mr. Jeff Wooden is back with us. Jeff, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Ed. How are you?
Cannot complain.
Wouldn't do you any good if you did.
Won't do any good at all. And I'll tell you what we're going to do. Connor, let's kick this thing off, and let's give Jeff maximum yield of our time if we could, okay? And we're going to get started here on a Sunday night with Edwin Lee Raymer. I'm Ed Raymer, your host. And yes, I am for right now still a private investigator. Welcome aboard.
This is the Edwin Lee Raymer Show with your host, Ed Raymer, on your Good Neighbor station, News Radio, WGNS.
All right, and we are back with you, Ed Raymer, here at the Edwin Lee Raymer Show. And this show is produced at the studios of WGNS, AM 1450, 100.5, 101.9 FM, right here in the heart of the great volunteer state, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. You can reach us tonight with your questions, your comments, your ideas, your thoughts for Jeff at 615-893-1450, 615-893-1450. And you can also download or send us a text to that number. And our producer, Connor, will be glad to read it over the air for those of you who are too high or too shy, don't want to be heard on the air. We understand. And you can find us, of course, here on the radio, 1450 AM, 100.5, 101.9 FM. And you can find us also right now at News Radio, WGNS, YouTube. And that's the same on News Radio on Facebook Live. And also you can download WGNS, the WGNS app, and take WGNS with you wherever you go. Listen whenever you wish. Angela Bingham just left here. The Angies just left. They had Hope Oliver on tonight, and she was with them. Good show, good job, good folks, doing good stuff for Rutherford County and the city of Murfreesboro and all the respective cities. Hope down in Laverne, same thing, feeding people, taking care of people, doing what you're supposed to do. As a Christian person, a person of faith if you are, they're doing it. And also, Jason Qualls, listen to Jason. I listened to Jason this week. Got to listen to one of his shows on financial coaching. He does a good job, and he's got good guests. Get good, hard, solid information. Jeff Wooden is here. Jeff, how are you doing? Where you been, my friend?
We're doing great. You know, it's you asked me earlier, and it's been quite the experience running for office and learning some things. But the greatest part of that experience has been two-part. It is certain people who I want to thank. Ed, you're one of them. Well, and Stephen Cates and Shanto Sharino. Yep. The advice and the counsel that you all have given me has been invaluable, and I greatly appreciate that. And I know as the process continues, come what May and August 6th, we'll still stay in touch and be friends because it's been a great experience.
Well, we appreciate you running. And your wife is with you tonight?
She is, as always.
And always
my big campaign staff, manager, social media director, But the other part of it is meeting the people and hearing their concerns. And I continue, even though we've only got a few weeks left, for them to continue to reach out. But I have really enjoyed my interactions with the constituents and possible voters and answering their questions. And you can't please everybody all the time, but
sure,
they deserve to be heard, and I don't mind hearing them and listening and responding when I can.
Sure. And again, and I don't mean to sound like a broken record, What is it you're hearing mostly from people? What do they want? I mean, everybody wants something. Sure.
Yes.
Oh, I wish we didn't have to pay tax. Well, sure. We all wish that.
Right.
That's not going to happen. But what are you hearing mostly?
So it surprised me. It has surprised me, and because initially it was the things that I thought. We have concerns about how's our growth happening? Unconstrained. Why aren't we being more strategic? How are we going to solve our traffic congestion? What are we doing to take care of our elderly? How about our first responders and our infrastructure? How does all this unconstrained growth impact them and our school system and things like that? But then it expanded from that, and we started talking about things like, the flock surveillance system. We started talking about the fact that they want a responsive city council and they don't get one. And it turns out I've experienced that myself. I'm not going to be shy about it. I reached out to the mayor. I reached out to 3 sitting city council members, email, phones, in-person requests, and not one response. So, and I get it. They want to say I'm a candidate, but you know what? I'm also a constituent. I'm a taxpayer. I live here in Murfreesboro.
You mean you have reached out to some of these people that are sitting in office right now and they have not responded?
Not one acknowledgement that I reached out. And unfortunately, it bleeds into other parts of the city. I reached out to the police department to talk to them because I have a first responder background. But
Sure,
I reached out
sure
to them.
you do.
I reached out to the fire department. And other than the locals' one forum that they did, no response to my emails, my request to meet with leadership. And that's a little frustrating. But if it happens to me, that means it's happening to everybody. And my point, and I've said this over and over, city council, city government needs to be responsive to its voters, not the other way around. And when they don't respond, then what that tells me is they aren't taking the voters' concerns to heart.
Right.
And I can see why then voters get discouraged, because my message to them has been, your vote is your voice, your vote is your power. And as much as I want you to vote for me, it's more important to me that you get out and vote.
Exactly.
But if they can't get a response, I can see why they would get discouraged. And my message to them has been, don't be discouraged, because we've already seen how one vote can change an election in this country.
Yes, it can.
So people vote. I want you to get out and vote. Do I want you to vote for me? Of course I do.
Sure.
But more importantly, I want you to vote.
But, that's strange you say that, because we had this happen once a few years back, 10, 12 years ago, whatever, particular election. And one of our county, city people who are, whatever position they held, and we're talking about our low voter turnout. And they said, well, I'm convinced, and this was before the election. I said, well, I'm convinced that if a lot of people don't vote, they just like the way things are. He was running for re-election, and guess what? He got his backside beat.
Well,
I guess they weren't happy with the way things were. What the 8% that turned out, or whatever it was, which is ridiculous.
Well, I agree. And you look at the primaries, and only 11.7% of eligible voters turned out. But so people, they need to come out in more numbers. They need to exercise that voice,
right?
Because even if you vote a certain way and you don't get the results you wanted, you've still put people on notice. There's a large portion of the population that's not happy with the way things are.
Sure.
You better change your way. Whereas if you don't vote at all, then you're just passively saying, yep, the point you made. Oh, they must agree with me because nobody said no.
Yeah.
So,
well, he found out different.
Yep. And that's
he got beat. He got beat.
Wow.
And so I thought, well, I guess I told the wife in the house, I said, well, there's his quote. There it is right there in the paper at that time. I think people are happy with the way things are. Well, apparently they weren't very happy with him.
Yep. Well, and you look at things, how could you be? Here, just talk about Murfreesboro. I mean, we've talked before. Growth is going to happen. Growth has to happen, and growth is beneficial. But you've got to do it strategically, and you've got to integrate it with infrastructure growth as well. You can't just constantly do what one city council member said in public.
Right.
Well, we rarely say no to anything. Mm-hmm. So you basically you say yes to everything, and then you worry about infrastructure later. That's never going to happen. It takes 5 to 10 years, and you're behind forever.
Exactly. Yeah, it's the favorite American game. catch up.
Yeah, and
We're all playing catch up.
And you can't.
And you can't do that.
You can't do it at the national
Right.
level. You can't do it at the local level.
Right.
It's got to be done at the same. And there's nothing wrong with doing it at the same time, but you
Sure.
got to have that strategic planning. And quite honestly, I've had people point out to me and ask me if I recognize this, and the truth is I do. And I haven't said a lot about it, but the real truth is we've got a planning commission and we've got city council who majority of the members, quite honestly, their personal and professional lives are tied to real estate, construction, real estate law, real estate development.
Well, our own mayor he has the city mayor. He has his own construction company.
And you know,
And that happens, then that's fine.
yeah,
That's,
it can
it's
be
okay.
completely above board, but the
Sure.
perception is, combined with when they say we rarely say no to anything, is are we taking care of the city or are we taking care of ourselves?
Right.
That's just reality.
And I think it's the trouble with for them. It's the truth.
Could
You
be.
know.
Yep. So
I
it's,
want you, if you would, please, to tell people a little of your background, because we didn't get into this, and I want to do that because I think it's important. Okay, I think it's important because you didn't just fall off the turnip trunk.
I
Trump.
did that.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
And
Would you mind doing that?
And my wife has been
Now,
bugging
and
me
I did
a
not
lot.
clear this with him. This may be it. If you find me laying out in the parking lot tomorrow morning with a book, what? Okay.
No,
All
no,
right.
it'll just be
Okay.
the black helicopter coming. So my wife's
Will you
constantly
please
been
tell?
on me.
Yeah, please tell people about yourself because I think it's important.
All
And
right.
you're not bragging. And folks, I pulled this
I'm
on him,
not.
and I'm sure he'll throw me in the corner when this show's over. But that's okay. I think it's important that you all know.
Well, and I think it has had to come out more because I don't know if you're aware, but recently, and to their credit, they've taken the post down. But recently, the the Rutherford County GOP
All right.
posted a very flattering description of me. They said,
You
they
care
told
if I
their
read
people-
it? If you'll pull it up, I'll be glad to read it. Or you can read it. I don't care.
I just basically I'll summarize because we only got an hour. Come on
That's
now.
all right.
You
Go
know.
ahead. Go ahead.
So, in response to a comment I made when they showed pictures of the Tennessee State Pavilion up in D.C., there were no people. And so I said, well, it looks lonely. That triggered the following response from them. Everybody meet Jeff Wooden, candidate for Murfreesboro City Council, an unpatriotic, radical liberal, unfit to hold office in the state of Tennessee. Thought about that for a while, and I did reply. And they've since, to their credit, taken it down, but it's the internet. Is anything ever really gone from the
No,
internet?
it's never going.
No.
That's what their whole plan
So,
is. Yeah, that's
yes.
what they want.
So, I've had to push that some more. So, briefly, I served 22 years. Well, go back to being a teenager. I was in the Civil Air Patrol as a cadet volunteer.
Okay.
Then I joined the Navy, and I served 22 years in the Navy. 6 years enlisted time as a nuclear propulsion plant operator, 16 years in naval aviation.
Nuclear. Listen to this, folks. Nuclear. Okay.
So,
this
then,
guy,
and
I don't mean
service-
any offense to anyone in the service. This guy wasn't out there just, he wasn't just,
painting rocks.
counting, painting rocks and making everything pretty. Nuclear, okay? Go ahead, Jeff. I'm sorry.
Then I became an aviator, deployed Desert Shield, Desert Storm. So 272 air combat hours, decorated for several
Okay.
missions there. Ended up, I was in the Pentagon on 9/11. And an interesting side note there was it was just under 6 weeks. I had gone through emergency medical technician training
Right.
and received my state license. 9/11 happened. So I ended up working with the first responders from Arlington County and surrounding jurisdictions
Sure.
for
Yeah.
search and rescue ops and medical ops in the Pentagon. Unfortunately, I was there for 17 hours straight, and the last thing I did before I left and got relieved was set up a temporary morgue in the center courtyard of the Pentagon. Fortunately, they didn't end up using it, but
Sure.
set that up.
Yeah.
And then 14 hours later, I was back in the Pentagon, back at work.
And please explain to people about the Pentagon and about Washington. Now, as I understand, the Pentagon does not sit in Washington proper, right?
It sits in Arlington County,
Arlington
Virginia,
County,
right across
Virginia.
the river.
I know because my wife used to live there.
Yep.
In that when she was a child.
Yep. Yep. So I did that. I did other deployments, high risk deployments, 2 additional deployments to the Persian Gulf. I had typical staff tours as well before I retired. Then I retired. I spent a year in public service doing Homeland Security related contracting, but didn't really like being the contractor. So I went back into federal service as a civilian for the Department of Defense.
Right.
Where I had I progressed up the ranks from, being a typical GS employee at the 13 level up to a 15, and then later as a defense senior leader. My last job in the federal service, I was the Deputy National Intelligence Manager for Aviation.
Right.
And I was the director of the Naval Aviation Intelligence Integration Office. And also in that career prior to those two jobs, that's where I met my wife. I volunteered and deployed to Afghanistan, where I served as the Senior Command Advisor and the Civilian Deputy to U.S. Forces Afghanistan. That was interesting.
I bet it was. Yeah.
It was, the Taliban at the time, I was in Bagram and in Kabul, and we were still getting indirect rocketed on a nightly basis.
Right.
So that was interesting. Anytime I went out, I had to go with a platoon or sometimes a company of troops to provide security. But we did that, came back, and then after I retired from there, I just spent the last 2.5 years, I was the Director of Emergency Management up at the Nashville International Airport.
Mm-hmm.
While all of that was going on, I was also spent 19 years as a volunteer EMT and paramedic in Fairfax County, Virginia.
Right.
Followed by, when I got back from Afghanistan, 3 years as a reserve deputy sheriff. And I was also a flight medic and medic trainer for the Virginia Airborne Search and Rescue, volunteer organization. We did search and rescue with the sheriff's departments. We did tracking of, escaped felons. We also did electronic search and tracking for people with autism and people with Alzheimer's. And then somewhere in all of that, I also got a PhD in public policy and public administration with a specialization in emergency management. So
now you play a lot of golf during this time, do you?
No. Matter of fact,
I guess you lay out by the pool, work on your tan.
I did.
Yeah, that's what I do.
I did take up golf at one point because that was something my dad and I could do. And
really?
And then when my dad passed, I was like, I haven't played golf since, but
right.
I've been a little busy.
Yeah,
and so the one thing I was interested when I got down here to Tennessee, it's the volunteer state. There were no volunteer opportunities. I'm like, what the heck? What can I do?
Yeah.
So I thought my civic duty time was over, and then I realized as I was watching this city and we got to know it more and more and started experiencing those things like, hey, it used to take us 5 minutes to go down Thompson or Memorial. Now it takes 15 or 20. Where's my first responders?
Sure.
Oh, now my wife keeps adding these little things.
Oh, it's all right.
I was supposed to tell you that I spent some time at the CIA. And
okay.
Well, my time as the Deputy National Intelligence Manager was with the Director of National Intelligence.
Right.
Apparently, if you do well in D.C., they like to loan you out.
Sure. I understand a lot of that goes on.
So the Deputy SecDef called me in one day I was actually working for the Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence, and he said, hey, we need you to go do a job over at the DNI. Like, well, okay. What do we got?
Okay.
So that's how I ended up over there.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
So you haven't had a lot of spare time. So you thought you'd come over here, and you've had this animosity. You'd run for office because you had this animosity toward your wife, and she's going to kill me too. Yeah. I may not get out of here, honey, if you're listening. This is going to be bad. No, they're pretty good folks. But I wanted to say, I think, Jeff, that's important. Folks, you hear the resume, okay? This is not me talking to you. This is Jeff. He's telling you all about, let me tell you, this man's traveled a fine road, okay? He and his wife both, We got a caller on the line? No. Oh, we don't? No. Okay.
Apparently I bored everybody.
No, I don't think so. You might have scared some people.
Well, the thing is now I teach at MTSU.
Sure.
I'm an assistant professor in the aerospace department, teaching the next generation of aviation, hopefully leaders. And I guess that's a point too, and it's not really bragging, but I've had people initially insinuate, well, you don't know what it's like to live here. And I'm like, well, let's step back. I took a 46% pay cut to stay in the Murfreesboro area.
Sure.
To take that job at MTSU because I believe in I believe in the school, but I believe in this city and I believe in its people. And, my daughter goes to high school here or she's about to start high school at Oakland. And when you look at, we talk about this unconstrained growth and building, she's in one of the largest freshman classes they've had in 10 to 20 years.
It's unbelievable.
There's over almost 700 freshmen.
Just freshmen.
Just freshmen coming into Oakland
So
High
if you
School this year.
multiply that by 4 freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors, you're looking at 2,800, 3,000 people.
Easy. And,
Easy.
and
In one school.
And we continue to grow.
One school.
And the high school is run by Rutherford County, but it still impacts. It's within the confines of the city of Murfreesboro.
Sure.
And we need to, that's something city council needs to do. They need to work together with the county on more things. And I just think that's another area where the city council's kind of...
As they're trying to, as we were talking before we came in here, with this landfill situation, where the city is taking that over, and hopefully they're trying to hammer out an agreement, which the county had gotten into. And it just happened back in the 80s, and I can assure you, I was here in 1980s when we moved here, and this place was a whole lot different then. And I got to tell you, as critical as I am of a lot of politicians, I got to give the county, I give them a break on that because they had an open-ended contract. We did not see what was going to be coming here. No one did. We really didn't. Should someone have seen that? Well, maybe so. I don't know, but I don't blame anyone. It's just one of those things. But then we wound up taking trash from like 25 other, 30 other counties, and therein lies a big part of the problem.
Well, and it's wasn't regulated properly,
right?
And it wasn't necessarily. Again, it goes to, in a way, bad planning, and it was more on the county at the time. Now it falls to the city, but you have to look at your landfill and go, what are we going to need in 25, 30, 50 years from now? Not, hey, what do we need tomorrow?
Tomorrow, next week, it's
so,
not going to get it.
I do think the city and the city council in 2025 did some really good things. They rejected a lawsuit settlement. They annexed certain land. And, as I told one voter, look, when somebody does something good, I don't care whose idea it was. If it's a good idea, let's do it.
I'm with you.
So I support them with that. The question is, what have they done since, and what are they going to continue to do? How are they going to set those priorities? Not just with the landfill, but with everything else. I mean, I heard the city council is very happy and proud of, they're going to put 2 new ball fields in and a new sportplex in. I think that's great, but not at the expense of things like finishing the firefighters training academy, which they've been working on for 10 years. And when a city council tells the firefighters, well, you have to understand, you have to be patient. We have to set priorities.
10 years?
You don't have your priorities aren't your first responders who you're going to put. You're going to, who do you think is going to respond to these ballparks and the SportCom when there's an incident?
Well, and that's the thing, Jeff, I've always gotten to with this. No one does anything, and this is going to sound brash, and I'll say it, but no one does anything until someone dies.
Well,
So,
unfortunately.
Well, I'll tell you what, we've got to get on that intersection down there. That's a dangerous thing. And everybody, but, I mean, and it's the truth. I'm telling you, you let a councilman or a city councilman or a county commissioner, someone's family member, and I'll guarantee you, then something happens, then it'll get done. Mm-hmm. But this is me talking. This is not Jeff. Okay, you got a caller for us? Yeah. Hello, caller. Go ahead. This is Ed Raymer. Go ahead.
Hey, Ed. This is Clements.
Prentice, how are you, sir?
Clements. Pat Clements.
Oh, it's Pat. It's Pat Clements.
Pat Clements. Hello, Pat. I'm sorry. Go ahead. What's going on?
Oh, well, it was a bad time to break in, but I just wanted to say Jeff Wooden is highly, highly qualified. And when I first met him, he's such a humble person that it's very hard to get that out of him. You have to drag that experience out of him. I grew up in an Air Force town. I knew a lot of people like Jeff, and they are tough. They spent a lot of time away from their families when they were deployed. He's an operator, and I think he'd make a fine city councilman. So,
Pat, I thank you for that. I appreciate that, and I want to say that I'm the one that he didn't know I was going to ask him about that, but I felt that it's important. I do, and so if you don't ever see me again, Pat, because of that, you'll know what happened.
Yeah, he's a good man. He's very highly qualified for the job.
Right, and I knew that first time when he didn't want to speak of all the accomplishments he had. I thought, hey, wait a minute, this guy's, you've even been affiliated with the CIA. Come on, you've been at the Pentagon. Come on. It's not like you've been playing, mumbly peg and tiddlywinks. I mean, something's going on, Now, Pat,
right?
Have you been out today, out on the street corner, waving at people again?
Well, I've been working on my campaign. I planned on going out and knocking doors this afternoon, and the big storms came in, and I said, I think I'm going to sit out and take a rest. I was out at early voting all day Friday and all day Saturday morning, and so it's been a lot of work. It's easy to get dehydrated, drink a lot of water, and wear your sunblock and a nice hat.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Now, while I've got you here, tell people, this is Pat Clement, everyone, and you're running for County Commission District 19?
Yes, sir.
District 19, and tell folks where that is so they'll know.
So it's West Murfreesboro. It starts all the way up at Stewartsboro Elementary and cuts down all the way down Florence on one side through the Blackman area. Sheldon Square is in, down part of Brinkley and Veterans, and splits off and goes around Rucker in the Kingdom Ridge neighborhood, out Windrow and back up Coleman Hill Road out in the country, and then back up Shores to Veterans. So it's a really long, very strangely shaped district, and it's hard to move from one end of it to the other very easily.
Yeah, you're down the old Nashville Highway area.
Yes, sir. I live off of Old Nashville Highway.
Right.
I sure do. So.
Well, how are you feeling? Because this time next week we'll be running out of time, of course, and everything happens. I think it is the 6th, the 6th, August 6th.
August 6th.
So we're all counting the days. So.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, no doubt about it. And we wish you nothing but the best. I can tell you that. And Pat, no one has campaigned harder than you have. And I, as a citizen of this county, I want to thank you, because a lot of people have not seen any campaigning like what we're seeing with all of our candidates right now, Jeff included here.
Yeah. Now, that's right. Pat's done a really good job, and Pat's another one of the been very welcoming and willing to make introductions.
Sure.
I think he's highly qualified. I think people in his district would be wise to support him and to vote for him. But I also know that he's had some issues in his campaign and had some issues with signage and some others. And I think, Pat, you should talk about that.
Yeah. So I ordered, I'll try to keep this short, but I ordered about 100 signs. Yeah, about 100 signs. And I worked this entire time getting most of them out into people's yards. Finally came down to about the last 20 or 30 signs I had, and close to the election, I finally made the decision to put my sign where everybody else's signs are, on the corners.
Sure.
And my sign next to Republicans and Democrats would just disappear. Somebody was removing my sign and leaving everybody else's signs. So
just yours, yours alone.
Just mine. Mine was being disappeared.
Right.
Everywhere I put them, put them even next to my opponent's signs in some places, and put even in where we're not supposed to in public right of ways, but everybody does. I finally decided to put the last of my signs out like that.
Right.
The signs just kept disappearing.
Yeah.
So I got me a little. I'm a tech guy by trade, and got me a little air tag, and I'm a pretty handy guy, and made me a little compartment inside my sign, and hid my air tag in one of my signs and put it on the corner of Manson and Brinkley, right there across from the BP. And it went on about 3 days, and finally I said, well, I'm going to go out there and move it. So I showed up on Thursday and decided I'd move my spiked sign to another place, but I got there and all the signs were gone. The city, about 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock that day, removed all the signs.
Right.
So I looked on my AirTag tracker app. My tracker, my AirTag was not at the county office. It was at my opponent, Romel McMurray's home. So I drove by to make sure that it wasn't in error, I got close enough that the Bluetooth and the detailed tracking would go over, and it triangulated on the front of his house. I didn't even get out of my car.
Right.
So I went home and I talked to my wife about it. We called the Murfreesboro police. They showed up at his house on Thursday night. Nobody's home. So they called me to come back over with my tracker. So we got out of the car, walked down the sidewalk, it triangulated on the front of the house again. The garbage can was there.
Right.
So it could have my AirTag could have been in the garbage can or in the garage, most likely. You can watch the video and see what happened. And so finally, it's still under investigation. I don't have the police report yet. It'll be available tomorrow.
Okay.
But my opponent should come up with an explanation of why my AirTag out of my sign is at his house. So Friday morning, I saw him on the corner, and I asked him. I said, "Romel, why is my AirTag that was in my sign at your house?" And we had some words. It'll just be hearsay if I told you what he said back to me.
Sure.
About 10 minutes later, about 7 a.m., was the last minute that it was about 10 minutes after that conversation that my AirTag went offline, and it hasn't shown up since. So
it has
just miraculously, within minutes of the conversation, my AirTag went offline. So,
in other words, it was destroyed.
See, Pat, you should have came to me because we could have talked sources and methods, and I should have tell you how to clandestinely do that. But
it's the cruelty of driving a woman from her home in the freezing cold. These are stories that I think are important, and I love that you walked back there and found ruins, and you're going to make a memorial to her. I think that's amazing. You are awesome. Way to be a detective and
we are all running clean campaigns.
I know you are.
What's the opposing party afraid of?
I know.
Because they won't address it. They won't come back.
Well, see, we had this happen with another candidate in the election, I think 4 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, with one of the road board. Same thing. Mm-hmm. Sign missing. Put up another sign, goes missing a day or two later.
It's happened to me, too.
I mean, and I want to tell you, our police people, they take this very seriously. Yeah.
Yeah, look, we work way too hard to get these signs out.
Sure you do, and they cost money.
It's dirty. It's dirty play, and we should run on our ideas, our backgrounds, what we plan to do, and how voters should expect us to act in this. When you have like hundreds and hundreds of signs all over the district,
right?
You don't have to go. I'm not saying it's him that did it.
Right.
But you don't have to remove your underdog opponent's signs to win an election. You should win an election based on what you've done, right, or what you're going to do, or what people expect you to do.
Yeah.
And not this bull crap.
Yeah. No, I agree.
That's all I got to say about that.
Okay. All right. Pat, anything else? Pat Clements on the line, folks. Anyone? He got anything else?
No, I'm just honored to be part of this group of candidates that are running, including Jeff Cotton, and I wish everybody the best.
We wish you the best, and I want to tell you something, Pat. You have campaigned hard, and I always found when I work, when I get out here and work, the harder I work, the luckier I get. So,
yes, sir.
That's always been my motto. I don't believe in luck,
sir.
but I know the harder I work, the luckier I get. So,
yeah.
Anything else, Pat?
No, sir. You guys have a great night, okay?
Pat Clement,
friend, you too.
Thank you, Pat. We appreciate it. He is your candidate for County Commission in District 19. Out the old Nashville Highway area, you heard, Florence Road, all that area. Look him up. Now, he's a good guy. And I'll tell you what, Connor, if we can right now, let's go to our first break if we could. And we're going to go to our break. Jeff Wooden is here with us. He's running for Murfreesboro City Council, and he's asking for your vote. I'm Ed Raymer for the Ed and Lee Raymer Show. Back with you right after this. Hello, everyone. It's Ed with Private Investigations in Middle Tennessee. You know, if you just need someone checked out on a background check, tag them a run, or if you need someone full-fledged to follow, give us a call. You can reach me at 615-390-7219. That's 615-390-7219. Or check out our website at piofmt.com. That's piofmt.com.
I felt so alone, scared, angry, full of self-pity. I just wanted to die, so I took another drink. Then I heard about AA and went to my first meeting. The people there talked about those same feelings. I was no longer alone. They gave me help to stop drinking and hope to start living. Alcoholics Anonymous, it works. Look us up. Check your phone book, newspaper, or aa.org.
And I want to tell you about a great friend of ours, J. Mullins Jewelers. You know, they've been in this county for going on 100 years now. And their new location is 1640 Memorial Boulevard, right here in Murfreesboro. Jewelry for any and all occasions, weddings, birthdays, of course, all holidays, Christmas and everything, getting real busy around the Christmas holidays. Check them out at 1640 Memorial Boulevard, right here in Murfreesboro. You know, J. Mullins Jewelers. Can't beat it. Hello, everyone. It's Ed with Private Investigations in Middle Tennessee. You know, if you just need someone checked out on a background check, tag them a run, or if you need someone full-fledged to follow, give us a call. You can reach me at 615-390-7219. That's 615-390-7219. Or check out our website at piofmt.com. That's piofmt.com.
I felt so alone, scared, angry, full of self-pity. I just wanted to die, so I took another drink. Then I heard about AA and went to my first meeting. The people there talked about those same feelings. I was no longer alone. They gave me help to stop drinking and hope to start living. Alcoholics Anonymous, it works. Look us up. Check your phone book, newspaper, or aa.org.
All right, we're back, and we had a caller that had asked if candidate Wooden wears a hairpiece. No, he does not. That's nice. Me you're looking at. I had a girl that did that once. She came up. I had my hair was longer. I just got a haircut a week or so ago, and this little girl, she's sweet as she could be. Okay, and she, you know, but young. All right, and said, "Mr. Raymer, I need a favor." I said, "Well, okay, what do you need, you know?" And we'd been in a small meeting together. She said, "I just need to know something." And I knew her, okay? I mean, we'd been around and all of us had been together. I said, "Well, what do you want?" I said, "Go ahead. You ain't going to bother me." I said, "Well, come here a minute." So I went over and she took her fan, she goes in my hair, and she pulls on my hair. I said, what is that? She said, "I just had to know if that's real or if it was fake." No.
Well, my hair may be thinner than it was 20 years ago, but it's all real at this point.
Mine is too, thank goodness, as of for now. So I don't know, but yes.
Well, I think it's, we were just talking a little bit off air too. And
sure.
This is like what Pat's been through. I've been through some of that. But when we're talking about all the information that gets put out and where does things matter and what, how do you plan? And I think you're right. People are worried about, how do I get Susie to school? How do I get her to her soccer game? Hey, what's going on with my boss at work? Am I going to get that pay raise? There's a lot going on because we're in a very complicated world.
Sure.
But I think and then that leads people to say, I can't be bothered to vote because it doesn't matter. So we've been sending the message to encourage them because it's easy to lose sight that what the city council, what the county council commission does or doesn't do can positively or negatively impact all the issues they're worried about that consume their daily lives. And that's been one of the struggles, but one of the things I've enjoyed is getting the message out to people. I get it.
Well, and
but take a look back and go voice, because you can impact your future.
Because one of the things what a county commission or city council, Jeff, does or doesn't do.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Maybe because I find it hard to believe that 6 or 7 people sit on city council, counting mayor, that they would not know about just pretty much everything that should be going on here in the city. And we're talking about the city now.
And be willing to talk about it with the constituents. And they're not.
Right.
That's my key. That's my problem. I mean,
right.
You know, when you talk about Murfreesboro and affordability, I mean, it's a great place to live, but, you know, unfortunately, I've heard somebody in this campaign say, well, you know, we want to attract the right kind of people to Murfreesboro, the people that can afford
the right kind of people.
And my question is, well, what are those right kind of people? Are those the people that are going to buy these $700,000, $800,000, $900,000 houses? Great. But you know what? In 2 years, they're going to move, because those kind of, quote unquote, those kind of people aren't going to put up with the traffic congestion. They aren't going to put up with, you know, one of the things we talked about. The current city council is very proud of saying we've not raised taxes in X number of years.
I know.
And you know what? That in itself is a true statement. Yeah. But what has gone up is your assessment.
Sure.
So while your tax rate has not gone up, your assessment has gone up.
Exactly.
So you are paying more in property taxes.
Yes.
So let's just be clear about that. That's the same way they tried early on to say, well, you know, we can't charge an impact fee because it's not legal. Well, and I brought up early in my campaign, but you can charge developers an assessment fee. And now all of a sudden I hear the city council talking about assessment fees. But 4 months ago, they weren't. So what's the dichotomy? If the city council, the current city council, is so proud of what they've done and continue to do, then talk about it.
Well, tell us about it.
Tell everybody, not just the people who wrote a check to your campaign or let them put your campaign signs up.
Right. And, you know, it does affect, I said earlier, my wife and I, we live out in the county, but it does affect us. Mm-hmm. Everything does, because, I mean, we're just on the outskirts of the city limits. So, I mean, it does affect a whole lot of people here.
The city and the county have to work together.
Right.
To make things, but because what happens in one does bleed over to the other. And to ignore that is just short-sighted.
That it does. We've got a caller on the line again. Caller, go ahead. This is Ed Raymer. Go ahead.
Mr. Raymer, how you doing?
Hello, is this Jeff?
Hey, Jeff, how you doing? I just want to say...
hey, Jeff, how you doing?
Good. I just want to say, Mr. Ware, I'm glad you put your name on the ballot. I can't vote in the city elections, but I know I hope people do get out and vote, because like Edwin Lee said before, we have the number one election integrity in America, but we have the lowest voter turnout.
I know. And how do you feel about this man's qualifications? Have you been listening, Jeff? Did you hear his qualifications?
I heard a little bit. I listened a little bit of the debate they had. I think 2-3 weeks ago at the airport, a little bit of it.
Right.
I know he's qualified. I mean, I don't know how many people are running this time. I've seen a few signs out. I think the ones I've seen are the ones that are running for re-election, I think. So I don't know. I know it's what every so many. I think 3 or 4 of them have to be up for re-election.
5 of you this time, and you'll take the top 3.
5 of us running for 3 seats, and three of the 5 are current incumbents.
Three, right. Three. But a couple of them I know real well. And I think they do a fairly good job. Of course, I know everybody talks about the growth and all that other stuff, the schools and all that kind of thing. And I mean, that's what I mean. If you want to leave here, you gotta, like Lee said, we can't. You got to pay taxes. I mean, the Republican Party there. I mean, we'll get so low with taxes. They'll end up owing us money, end up paying us to pay a road or even pick up our garbage or whatever it may be.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Okay.
They want 3 or 4 people working in government. They want no taxes and let businesses run wild. They do whatever they want to do. They don't know rules for business. They can do what they want to do. So
I'm telling you.
That's the Republican Party, United States of America.
Well, it may very well be that way. But we've got a man that's been in Washington. He's here as a Democrat, so that should tell you a little something.
Yeah, I know. That's a good thing. But like Mr. Cleveland said, we got a lot of good candidates running, but people have to get out. They've got to get out and vote. I want to tell you, Emily, I saw this weekend, it was the first day of early voting on Friday, that Nashville had over 3,000 votes. So I don't know if that's any indication of how much they're going to have, but I mean everything. But I know we got 2 weeks to do it and all that stuff. But I do want to ask Mr. Wooden about how does he feel about the new jail we're going to have. We got to have it. I know they made a decision this week, and I'll just hang up and listen to your thoughts. Thank you.
Jeff Neal, thank you. A good supporter of this broadcast, a supporter of WGNS, and a great citizen of Rutherford County. And how do you feel about that jail situation? Because, Jeff, even though it's up to the county, but again, here we go where the paths overlap.
Yep. And that's a key thing. I mean, there's lots of dynamics to a jail, right?
Sure.
Well, now one of the things is ours is older. It's been built. It hasn't necessarily been maintained and brought up to standards, but there's lots of reasons for that. But
sure.
But we talk about the overcrowding in our jail. Well, then maybe the county should stop taking state and federal prisoners.
I've thought about that too. I don't know.
And quite honestly, and I get it's an issue. It's bigger than just Murfreesboro. It's across the state. That's why we're taking state. But if we're going to take state prisoners, then we need to, if it costs $94 a day to house an inmate, then the state should be paying $94 a day. And they are not. They're paying in the mid 40s because of some agreement that was made 10 years ago.
Right.
So that's not the right dynamic. Now, the fact that we need to build a new one, why are we looking at annexing land farther away when there is land, it's my understanding, near and around the current jail? Why aren't we doing that? Build new on that, because you still got to house these prisoners before.
Sure.
And then build new on that, transfer to the new, rehab what you've got, and then connect them, and you've got a double facility. Because here's the next thing. I hate to say it this way. Our prison population is not going to go down in the next decade.
If you get more people, it's going to go up. Sure.
So, but at the same time, and I'm not advocating that you go easy on criminals. They deserve the justice they got. I mean, I was an intelligence agent, not an FBI agent for a reason.
Sure.
That's a whole other discussion. But the truth is, you break the law, you harm people, you belong in jail. Should it be, the Marriott level? No. But you also can't treat them like you're putting dogs in a cage.
Sure.
So you've got to, and the jail needs to be safe for the people who work there. That's a dynamic that frequently gets missed.
That's true.
Is the correctional officer.
Right.
I mean, I've worked in a jail.
And most of those people are nonviolent people, as I understand. But because they will be released within a period of weeks, days, weeks, or months.
Up to a year,
so
I guess.
It's not like they're, it's not like you're holding Charles Manson in a cell.
So it needs to be humane and proper. We do need a new one, but we've got to go about it the right way. And I'm not convinced we are.
Okay. We have another caller on the line. Caller, go ahead. You're on the air.
Hi, Jeff. This is Laura.
Hey, Laura. How are we doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Hello, Ed. Laura Clark.
Are you needing money again, Laura? Are you in jail again?
No. There's never been any again or a first time. but thank you for the offer.
She stole my hairpiece.
She stole your hairpiece? Okay. Yeah, well, Laura, how are you doing? How's things going?
Going great. And I'm love listening to Jeff because I'm always interested in his perspective on things, and that's what my question has to do with.
Sure. Go right ahead.
So, Jeff, you mentioned it a few minutes ago about the circumstances or the traffic or the situations in Murfreesboro, bringing people, but ultimately kind of driving them away later. My question is, and I want you to answer it from your perspective, living in different cities. Murfreesboro is the place right now where many people are leaving more expensive places to come here and live because it's a wonderful place to live.
Yeah.
And my worry is that we will evolve into the place that becomes too expensive for people to live in, and they will leave. And for some people, that is already the case. So what are your thoughts on that? Are we at a time that we can be proactive? Are we going to be catching up, as you mentioned earlier? What can we do about that? Would you talk about that?
Yep.
Laura, thank you very much. Is that all you've got? Or anything else?
That's it. I'll hang up and listen.
Thank you very much. Good luck to you. Thank you very much. Okay. Yeah. I agree. What say you, my friend?
And so the real issue is you do want to attract prosperous people.
Sure.
But you can only do that to a certain point, and then, as I said before, you'll get to the point. So, transparency. When we were looking to move, we were concerned about a good school system for my daughter, and really, what was my commute to work going to be like? So, people at the airport said Mount Juliet. They said Lebanon. So we looked in those places. We looked at Franklin, and then we looked at Murfreesboro. And Murfreesboro was where we kept coming back to because it had the nice housing, good school system. I didn't realize how bad the commute on I-24 would become. But it had the feel like there's growing. There are plenty of services here. There's good medical services. There's good mental health services. You know, the fire and police looked good because they were city.
Sure.
And quite honestly, the traffic didn't seem that bad. And so we picked to come here for those very reasons. What you put at risk by not coordinating and doing strategic growth planning without looking at, you know what, this neighborhood of 200 houses, yep, we are going to build, quote unquote, high-end houses. I mean, we went to the parade of homes, and the houses started at $2.2 million. I'm like, who's buying these 10 houses? Because I'm not even doing that.
Right.
But it's okay. But then you still have to build other affordable housing, and I'm not talking about high density apartments where we cram a 1-bedroom apartment. It's 800 square feet, and we cram a family in 400. But I'm talking about you need to go in and build houses that are in the $400,000 range, maybe 3 to 5, 6, because those people pay taxes too, but they are nice houses.
Right.
Off of La Casas, they built that whole development, and they're all rental houses, and they're 3 and 4 bedroom. But they're nice. They all have a nice yard and that attracts people in who, because quite honestly, while it sounds impressive to say we're going to have this company's going to come in and we're going to pay them $20 an hour. That's not that great anymore.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. So you need to balance that. You need to balance what businesses you attract, which is why the whole thing about, we're going to do AI data centers. They don't create, they create temporary jobs, and then the construction leaves. And
that's it. Yeah, as I understand, there's only, 2 or 3 people in that thing.
90,000, 100,000 square foot facility's got a staff of 5.
Right.
Well, that's great. There's 5 people. But they're sucking your water, and that's a whole other story.
Right.
But I don't want to get off track. But it is balanced planning, balanced approvals, whether it's annexing property, whether it's approving something, whether it's approving a new Kroger's.
Sure.
Right. How do you do all that? But it's responsible planning integrated with infrastructure. If you do that, then you keep your affordability because you get the mix of people, you get businesses that are willing to come in, because businesses don't want to come in somewhere where people can't get to work. They've said that.
Yeah.
So the harder you get it, the less the infrastructure can support the population, the less these businesses are going to want to come. So it comes back to, and I keep on my soapbox, integrated strategic planning and growth.
Sure.
Must be taken care of. And no, it's not too late, but it could become too late. You could. Unparalleled growth, unparalleled commercial building along certain roads, and by the time you realize it, it's too late.
Let me ask you, if I may, how do you feel? And I'm not saying that I feel this way, or you. I'm certainly not. I'm not talking for you. But we've heard things. They ought to put a moratorium on everything for 6 months and just not build anything. Do you feel that is that something that is a possibility, or should this even be looked at, or?
My personal opinion is when you reach the point of saying we have to put a moratorium, you're too late.
I think you're right.
That's an emergency stopgap. Right. But even if you go to that extreme, it's what you do with it. You can't just say moratorium for 6 months, so the city council twiddles its thumb for 6 months.
So we're not going to do anything for 6 months.
And then
sit around
6 months
and
in one day. Oh, yeah. No, you need if you're going to get to the point where you need a moratorium, then you need to have the city council and the county commission planning actively and taking those actions.
Okay.
But hopefully you get a responsive city council who's doing that beforehand.
Okay.
Before you get to that point.
Jeff Wooden, it's been good to have you with us. We're going to, Connor, we're going to move out of here a couple minutes early, play our ads, if you would, at the end of the broadcast. I want to congratulate you. This will be the last time I see you until after the election. I wish you, and you brought your lovely wife, and I know she's never been through this either. I appreciate you both, and I appreciate you putting your name on a ballot. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And like I said, early voting is going on now, everybody, so I encourage you to get out and vote. I'd like you to vote for me, and then August 6th is the actual election. But get out there. Exercise your voice. Exercise your constitutional right to vote.
That's
and hold your government, whether it's a city council, a county commission, or your congressmen and senators, your governors, accountable to what they said they would do and to what you need. But it's been a privilege and an honor running for this, no matter how it goes. I mean, I hope in 3 weeks I'm city council elect. I appreciate everybody's vote, but it's been a wonderful experience, and Ed, thank you for having me.
No, I am just tickled to death. And a man with your experiences, your background, we need people like you. This is what we need, folks. This is what we've got to have. And this man is it's certainly not like the money he's wanting to get into it. City council. I mean, what is it, like $150 a month or something like that? I don't know.
The truth is, I don't even know what it is.
Yeah, I don't.
That's not an issue.
And I got some news for you. This is what we need. This is what we've talked about. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. Connor, thank you as usual for being on the board. I'm Ed Raymer. We're going to go out with some of our ads because we want to give Jeff maximum yield of his time. Thank you all. It's been a heck of a day, and we're starting out with another week already. So I'll tell you what. Till next Sunday night at 8 o'clock, I'm Edwin Lee Raymer. I'll catch you down the road. Take care. Hello, everyone. It's Ed with Private Investigations in Middle Tennessee. If you just need someone checked out on a background check, tag them a run, or if you need someone full-fledged to follow, give us a call. You can reach me at 615-390-7219. That's 615-390-7219, or check out our website at piofmt.com. That's piofmt.com.
I felt so alone, scared, angry, full of self-pity. I just wanted to die, so I took another drink. Then I heard about AA and went to my first meeting. The people there talked about those same feelings. I was no longer alone. They gave me help to stop drinking and hope to start living. Alcoholics Anonymous, it works. Look us up. Check your phone book, newspaper, or aa.org.
And I want to tell you about a great friend of ours, J. Mullins Jewelers. They've been in this county for going on 100 years now. And their new location is 1640 Memorial Boulevard right here in Murfreesboro. Jewelry for any and all occasions, weddings, birthdays, of course, all holidays, Christmas and everything, getting real busy around the Christmas holidays. Check them out at 1640 Memorial Boulevard right here in Murfreesboro. J. Mullins Jewelers. Can't beat it.